Have you ever wondered how a single match can completely change the way the world looks at an athlete? Sometimes history doesn't arrive with a warning. It doesn't announce itself with flashing headlines or dramatic predictions. Instead, it quietly unfolds in front of thousands of people before anyone realizes they're witnessing something unforgettable. That is exactly what happened when Alex Eala stepped onto Wimbledon's legendary centre court to face defending champion Iga Swiatek. On paper, this looked like another routine match. A young rising star against one of the biggest names in women's tennis. Most people expected experience to prevail. But within minutes, it became clear that this wasn't going to be an ordinary contest. Before the first serve was even struck, something felt different. The stadium filled much faster than expected. Fans packed every section of the stands. Philippine flags appeared everywhere, creating an atmosphere rarely seen for a player still establishing herself on the biggest stage in tennis. Television cameras repeatedly focused on the crowd because the energy inside center court was impossible to ignore. Everyone wanted to see Alex Eala. But why? Why had thousands of people suddenly become so invested in a young player from the Philippines? And what made this match feel so much bigger than a simple third-round clash? The answer begins long before Wimbledon. Every overnight success hides years of sacrifice that most people never see. Long before the packed stadiums, the television interviews, and the worldwide attention, Alex Eala was simply a young girl chasing a dream that many believed was almost impossible. Growing up in the Philippines, she quickly established herself as one of the country's brightest tennis talents. Coaches noticed something special almost immediately. It wasn't just her shot-making or athletic ability. It was her composure. Pressure never seemed to overwhelm her. Instead, it sharpened her focus. While many young players struggled in big moments, Eala often looked calmer when the stakes became higher. That rare quality would eventually become one of her greatest strengths. As her career progressed, she made one ambitious decision after another, always choosing the difficult path instead of the comfortable one. She trained in elite environments surrounded by players chasing the exact same dream. Every practice became another opportunity to improve. Every mistake became another lesson. Excuses simply didn't exist. Day after day, she developed not only her physical game but also the mindset required to compete against the very best. Because reaching professional tennis isn't just about hitting powerful forehands. It's about surviving constant pressure. One week, you're celebrating the biggest win of your career. The next week, you're sitting alone on a flight home wondering what went wrong. Confidence can disappear overnight if it isn't built on genuine belief. Alex Eala understood that. Rather than allowing defeats to define her, she used them as fuel. Every loss revealed another weakness to improve. Every difficult match added another layer to her experience. Slowly, almost quietly, she continued closing the gap between potential and reality. Then everything changed. The tennis world suddenly started paying attention after one unforgettable performance. When Alex Eala defeated Iga Swiatek in Miami, it wasn't simply another upset that would disappear from the headlines after a few days. It sent a message. She wasn't just talented. She was dangerous. What impressed analysts the most wasn't simply the result. It was the way she achieved it. Throughout the entire match, she remained remarkably composed. She didn't panic when momentum shifted. She didn't chase spectacular winners just to impress the crowd. Instead, every point had a purpose. Every rally followed a plan. Every adjustment showed maturity beyond her years. By the end of that match, something important had changed. The conversation around Alex Eala was no longer about what she might become someday. People began asking whether she was already ready to challenge the very best players in the world. That victory transformed expectations. And in professional sports, expectations change everything. Once you've defeated one of the biggest names in tennis, nobody overlooks you again. Confidence like that can't be borrowed. It has to be earned. Eala earned every bit of it. But perhaps even more remarkable than the victory itself was what happened afterward. The crowds kept getting bigger. At first, it was easy to explain. Filipino fans naturally wanted to support one of their country's brightest sporting stars. Then something unexpected happened. Neutral fans also started showing up. People who had never watched Alex Eala before suddenly found themselves following every match. Why? Because sports fans love great stories. And Alex Eala had become one of the most inspiring stories in tennis. She represented a nation still waiting for its first Grand Slam singles champion. She carried herself with humility despite growing international attention. And most importantly, she played a style of tennis that people genuinely enjoyed watching. Unlike many players who rely almost entirely on overwhelming power, Eala builds points with intelligence. She constantly changes direction. She creates impossible angles. She takes the ball earlier than most opponents expect, stealing valuable reaction time and forcing mistakes. Watching her play often feels less like watching a power battle, and more like watching someone solve a puzzle several moves ahead. That unpredictability makes her incredibly difficult to face. Elite players can usually prepare for power. What they struggle against is uncertainty. Eala creates uncertainty almost every point. One rally ends with a deep cross-court winner. The next finishes with a perfectly timed change of direction. Then suddenly she's charging the net before her opponent even realizes what's happening. Her opponents never feel comfortable. And that's exactly what makes her so dangerous. By the time Wimbledon arrived, Alex Eala wasn't simply another promising young player entering the draw. She had become one of the tournament's biggest attractions. Every match attracted larger audiences. Every victory created even more believers. And as she walked onto the most famous court in tennis, the world was about to discover whether her incredible rise was only beginning. But there was one problem. Standing across the net wasn't just another opponent. It was Iga Swiatek, a multiple-time Grand Slam champion, one of the most dominant players of her generation, a competitor who had built a reputation by making adjustments, learning from defeats, and rarely allowing the same mistake to happen twice. After losing to Eala in Miami, everyone expected Swiatek to return with answers. Champions always do. That was what made this rematch so fascinating. It wasn't simply youth versus experience. It wasn't just rising star against established champion. It was a battle between two incredibly intelligent players, each searching for solutions in real time. Every service game became a chess match. Every rally carried hidden strategies. Every point forced both players to adapt. Because at this level, tennis isn't won by hitting the hardest. It's won by making the smartest decisions under pressure. From the opening games, it became obvious that neither player intended to back down. Swiatek tried to take time away from Eala by stepping inside the baseline and attacking early. Eala answered with fearless shot selection. She redirected pace. She opened impossible angles. She forced one of the world's greatest players to keep guessing. That uncertainty slowly began changing the rhythm of the match. Commentators noticed it. The crowd felt it. Even Swiatek admitted afterward that she struggled to find her usual rhythm. Instead of dictating play, she found herself reacting. And against a player like Alex Eala, that's exactly where you don't want to be. One of Eala's biggest weapons wasn't raw power. It was her return game. Analysts had been praising it for months. Whether the serve came to her forehand or backhand, she always seemed to have an answer. She could drive the ball cross-court, fire it down the line, or suddenly attack with an inside and return that left opponents completely exposed. Her preparation looked incredibly compact. But the finish was explosive. That combination allowed her to generate pace while maintaining remarkable control. Time after time, she neutralized serves that normally produced easy points. Suddenly, one of the greatest players in the world was being forced into longer rallies. And that's exactly what Eala wanted. Because once the rally began, she became even more dangerous. Her court awareness stood out. She anticipated shots before they happened. She stayed balanced under pressure. And perhaps most impressively, she never looked intimidated. For many young players, center court can feel overwhelming. The silence before each serve, the history surrounding every corner of the stadium, the knowledge that legends have stood on that very same grass. It can make even experienced professionals nervous. But Alex Eala seemed different. The bigger the stage became, the calmer she looked. Later, she explained that she had learned to treat center court like any other court. Yes, it was special. Yes, it was Wimbledon. But once the match started, it was still tennis. That mindset allowed her to compete freely instead of playing with fear. And freedom can be incredibly dangerous.